about where he said the town will receive enough income that taxes will not be required. And when they changed it to ad valorem, where you get no money unless you charge a property tax, then you take a hit politically. And this is fine. This is wonderful for people that are running for office this time that say they can support that and try to make us be gloom and doom. I don't remember council members saying gloom and doom. I think they said we don't want to deplete the fund balance. So I just want to say that, you know, it's fine if we have a property tax holiday and go to zero, if as long as the citizens know to expect that this is just for 1 year. And next year we may have to make that decision again. But when we go back to where we've depleted our fund balance and we have to charge a tax, I hope the economy is in good enough shape where everybody will go, oh goody, it's time for you to charge our tax again because the property, the fund balance is down low. So I just think that everything we do has an effect on the future. Council would be not doing its due diligence if we didn't consider what would happen if we do this and how it will affect our fund balance in the future. Thank you for listening.
Can I just say one thing, Dina, that I'm not worried about getting reelected. I'm worried about the people having a few more dollars in their pocket this coming year.
And I was talking in generalities about having gone through it in the past.
Yeah, I understand that, but personally, that's the last thing I'm concerned about.
And I think that what you offered up is an interesting idea, and I'm happy to consider it. I just want to be sure that we don't cause any problems in the future.
And so do I, which is why I asked Michael and Dana to give us the pros and the cons, because it was my concern that I didn't want to do anything that would be detrimental to the town. But I think we've addressed all these concerns. If this is it, then I think we're in excellent shape, and I think we're in a financial position this year to charge or not to charge a property tax. Next year, we can revisit. We don't know what next year is going to be. Maybe the economy is going to be booming, maybe it'll be worse. But we'll have to address that next year. I think now is a good time to do it.
Well, I'm just afraid that when we come back and charge the tax, will have to be higher than 3.5. My goal when I got back on the council, I said I would low taxes and then no taxes, and the taxes has came down. It's down to 3.5. That's low. Once we get these projects we got going, completed, I think we can drop it down even lower, maybe a zero. But as long as we got these projects going, it's going to deplete our fund balance. We got the county that's going to be charging us more and more. Every time we turn around, they're looking for something to charge us with. And if we go to a zero tax now from 3.5, we might have to go to a 5 cents or even maybe a 6 cents. We might have to double it when we come back. And that's something that I do not want to do. I do not ever want to see the tax over 3.5. I want to see it under 3.5.
Well, Mr. Ray, the council had no problem charging 10-cent tax at one time. That wasn't seen as any major deal. So I'm not concerned about whether it's going to be 3.5 or 5 cents next year or the year after. I'm concerned about this year. You tell somebody that's lost his job, well, maybe you'll have to pay more taxes next year. He doesn't give a darn. He wants money to put food on his table right now.
Well, if I had to vote, I do not have a vote except in case of tie when it comes to our budget, when budget time comes. But should I have to vote in this situation when budget time comes, I would have to vote on what I consider the conservative side and leave our rate intact. That means whatever rate we determine after looking at the budget and trying to figure out, with the help of the finance officer and the manager, where we're at, leaving it intact. Because I think this very small rate in comparison to the Guilford County tax rate and the fire department tax rate this small rate leverages our sales tax money, which we would not get if we didn't have this minor sales tax or property tax. You add to that the investment income we have, our utilities, our alcohol tax receipts, and all this combined keeps us in this low tax rate. And I think that there are too many storm clouds over the horizon. Gilbert County can change tomorrow what they're going to do and mess us up. So just want my view to keep the status quo present.
With all due respect, Mr. Mayor, we will receive the sales tax proceeds in this coming year. It's the year after that we will not receive it. And we'll be charging a tax the year after, so it kind of balances itself out.
But this continued, we've been for 4 or 5 years, continuing with the leveraging of the sales tax money with our small tax, and again, adding the investment income and utilities, et cetera, to create this stability. And I think this is going to be blocking the stability vote for the town in future years. And that's where I'm worried about just, throwing up our hands and saying it's holiday time.
Well, it's baseball field time, it's park time, that's
Right.
millions and millions of dollars, but that's okay.
We've got a commitment to the kids in Summerfield, and we're going to have to work on it as best we can, whatever that means.
After full discussion of the pros and cons of not imposing a property tax for next fiscal year, I would like to make a motion that Summerfield does not charge a property tax for next fiscal year.
And I'd like to second that motion. And before you take a vote, I would just like to say one last thing. If you were a taxpayer, which would you rather hear? Here's one bill that you won't have to worry about paying next year. Or we have over $8 million in the bank, but we want more.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Strickland, we have a second by Ms. Flowers. What is our discussion?
I'd like to say that I am a taxpayer, and I do worry about having to pay a higher tax rate next year or year after me. I want to keep our tax rates low, but I am a taxpayer.
As are we all, Mr. Ray.
Well, for discussion, I just want to ask if this is premature at this time. Like I say, I want to be sure that what we have in the budget is good. Now, Michael and Dana, perhaps I could ask you, if this passes, is this going to impact how you fix the budget? Would you be handing us the same budget if we voted that we're not going to be charging, if we could give you a zero tax?
We've made our cuts.
I mean, we would need to look for direction as to what you wanted, if you wanted to cut the budget.
Well, without any direction, we would give you the same budget, just for larger fund balance.
So that was my question, you'll give us the same budget, the fund balance will just be decreased by whatever amount it has to
And
be.
then council can look at that budget and decide what they want to cut.
Because the tax rate is the last thing that Michael and I do when we determine the budget. We look at all the expenditures, and then we also project out for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years to give council an idea. If you, for instance, one of the questions was, if we do not charge a property tax, when will we deplete fund balance? So we did that projection last year, and we got your...
We are discussing the property tax holiday in Summerfield, and a motion because it is election year in Summerfield and the TV cameras are running. That's the only reason we're discussing this at this time.
You're wrong, Mark.
Excuse me,
I'm
Mr.
sorry, I
Mayor.
am wrong.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, but I take exception to what you just said. I am not running for election, and this was totally my idea and my concept.
That's fine. Do we have further discussion?
I feel that we're failing to look down the road when we talk about this tax holiday. The release